Hi everyone, Pina Brandy here. Recently did a presentation for a group of business owners, and I thought I should record it and put it out there because I know at the moment a lot of people are struggling and are terrified. Once again, we go through the bad news and how it's always doom and gloom, like doesn't matter what happens. That seems to be the trend of the news. And I always like to use some data and to get inspired and to get back on track, because I think as a property investor, you have a big picture with the end in mind, and you can't just let a little thing get to you. So I hope this presentation will be useful to you. It's not a very long one and has some links and QR codes that you can go and access and have a look at. And I hope this is helpful. So all right, so the presentation actually was on the 9th of February, and this is probably like a week after that you'll be seeing this. And a little bit of an explanation of why rents are getting so bad. So basically, if you follow the news, that's what all we've been hearing, that the prices are falling. And I think that usually they use the percentage, but they forget to mention that they use the national house value. So I don't know if you guys know what the national house value is or how it's calculated. So basically, the national housing price is the national weighted average. The weighting are based on the number of properties on each capital. So what that means is that usually the bigger capitals are the ones that are dragging the prices of this national house price. So again, if you go back to the population, which are the two major capital cities, are Sydney and Melbourne. So definitely these are the two markets that are dragging the prices. But that doesn't mean that everywhere the price is going down. So these reports are from Dr. Andrew Wilson. You can follow him on LinkedIn, and this kind of shows the whole of last year. So, and this is basically where we ended the year. And as you can see, the national wasn't as bad as it predicted. But if you look at Sydney and Melbourne, those are the two capitals that really underperformed. But even if you remember how much the prices went up originally, we're still not even there. So we're not back to the original prices. Now, again, when we talk about capitals, there's no one market in Sydney, there's no one market in Melbourne, and most likely, as you're hearing, is the higher end of the market at the moment that is suffering the most. So even within Sydney, you still have very good results in some suburbs, and you might not have as good results in other suburbs. Now, from a unit point of view, this is how we saw the market move. And again, as expected, units are performing a little bit better. And the reason for it is just because of the price point, because they're a little bit more affordable. So they didn't go up as much, but as well, they don't drop as much. And at the moment, a lot of people, especially because of the interest rates, they can't afford, their affordability is even lower. So to get into the market, into a unit, it's always a little bit better for them to start their journey than to wait until they have enough to get into a house. This was January, and in January, again, unit prices have continued to outperform houses. Same reasoning that I just explained. Not by very much, but still something that is worth considering. So especially for people that are first home buyers, a unit is always a first step sometimes to get into a place, to live where they want to live. And rents at the moment are crazy. Now, this was a great graph that Andrew Wilson shared, and I thought that this was brilliant because people talk about the market crashing and the market crashing and the market crashing, and he actually shared this graph showing since 1987 until last year, all the market really, and this is basically there are only 4 times that the market crashed, as you can see, like, and when we're talking crash, we're not talking like big numbers, double digits, like we're talking around 4 to 5%. So this should give you a little bit of confidence that things will pass, and you just stick to your fundamentals and make sure you have a good mortgage broker around you, make sure you have a good team around you, and they'll support your journey. Now, another great thing to look at are the auction clearance rates, and he posts this every week on his LinkedIn. So make sure you follow him and see, because the auction clearance rate actually shows how heated the market is. Now, remember, December and January are usually months that no one does anything other than eating and drinking for Christmas and Australia Day. So only after these holidays kind of pass is that people kind of go back into housing hunting mode. And this was from 2 weekends ago. So as you can see, if you compare from last year clearance rate, with 10% down, but if you compare it to the same weekend in to 20, sorry, not the same weekend, but to December, then as well, like we're not that bad. So it's pretty much still a competitive market out there. Now, I always like to show this because people sometimes get frustrated, they get anxiety, and these have been basically the interest rates in Australia for many years. And yeah, people might be freaking out right now, but you have to try to remember that this is the only tool the RBA has to be able to control inflation. And because so much money was printed during COVID and so many handouts and so much money was given away, well, we spent too much and now we have to bring it down. And unfortunately, where does it hurt the most to spend money? In our mortgages. So this is why they do this. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying that that's the reason behind it. So I don't believe they would keep doing it very longer, as long we kind of now stop and reflect and kind of slow down our spending. Now, they only do this type of things because they are backed by other type of data. So what is that data? I don't know if you're aware, but 40% of all Australians that have a mortgage are actually around 24 months ahead in their payments. So this is why they're able to do this type of decisions. Now, I'm not talking about the people that just got their loans in the last 2 years. These are not the people, and these are not the majority of the people of Australia. But this is where they base as well some of their decisions on. And again, 1/3 of Australian people have no mortgages on their houses anymore. They completely paid off. So when they see those numbers, they know that it's okay still to do what they're doing. It might not be okay for everybody, but that's what community living means, unfortunately. Now, if you want to read this full report, this is the QR code, just scan it, and there are pages and pages of it, so you can have a look at it. Now, another thing that we must take into consideration is definitely the immigration numbers. Like, numbers have escalated in the last years, especially in this last year after COVID. And basically the expectations is for us to receive 270,000 people coming into Australia. And out of this number, 190 are actually permanent residents. And now the total will be around 335. Now, what does that mean? So basically once people get their visa approved, then they bring their families. So this is the total amount of people. So just looking at that, you know that the major capital cities that will be absorbing all these people are probably going to be Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane. And this is why I believe that rents are not going to look good at all, because we are already going through a major shortage of dwellings. And when I say dwellings, all sort of dwellings, not only standalone homes, but apartments. People forget that it takes 2 to 3 years to build a block of apartments and 12 months to build a house. And because nothing much was happening during COVID with new applications and people trying to deal just with the big boom that all the builder grant created, a lot of the construction pipeline hasn't picked up yet. And even when it picks up, we're still at least 5 years away until this stock is delivered. So I would say if you're an investor and you're looking to buy something, and you're looking to buy something new, probably look at any project that it's completing now that was building during this whole craziness, and see if there's any stock left over there. Now, this is the pipe. I thought that this is brilliant. So please make sure you do scan this QR code and go and check it out. This is actually a real live map where you can actually check how many approvals have been put into each LGA in all Australia. So you can really go granular if you're a number person, but we're still looking at, we're still very much behind on what we need compared to the amount of people that are coming to Australia. And a big misconception, especially if you're here in Sydney, a lot of people might think that there's a lot of units being built in Liverpool. But if you actually come and have a look at it, this is the pipeline actually of apartments, townhouses, and houses. And these are total of just under 3,000 residential dwellings being delivered. Now, if you put that into consideration, let's just say into perspective, let's say that Sydney will receive 100,000 people. We're talking 3,000. Even if there were only 3,000 units, like what is 3? It's a drop in the ocean compared to the amount of people that we need to put a roof on top of their heads. Now, this was it. I hope it was quick. It gave you a little bit of perspective into what's happening. It is a challenging market at the moment. If you're not subscribed yet to my newsletter, please do. I would love to. I do not send regular newsletters. I'm terrible. I only send newsletters maybe once a month or once every 2 months, or when there's a deal happening that I think it's worth for my subscribers to know. I'd love you to follow me on my social. I'm very active on Instagram, extremely active. That's where basically I put out all my information. So please feel free to go to pb.property on Instagram. And if you have any questions, please reach out. These are the moments where you need to surround yourself with people that will support your journey, and not with people that are pessimists or they just love and feed in bad news. There are solutions out there for everybody. You just need to be surrounded of people that are solution driven and not people that will are out there to make you fail. I know a lot of people, and I would love to connect you to all these people and support your journey. So feel free to leave a comment, reach out to me, and yeah, and I'll see you in my next video.